This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carannante. I guess homework time. We got to do a podcast after the Yankees lost to the Red Sox in a weekend series. After the Yankees took the first game from the Red Sox at home in a weekend series, and then all they had to do was win one more game, and then they didn't do that. They, in fact, gave up 10 and 11 runs to a Red Sox team that all Red Sox fans assured me can't hit and needs to fire their hitting coach. I'm not, and we're going to do a lot of ranting and raving on this podcast, I'm sure. I'm not even really down on the Yankees after this series. And you're probably going to hear a lot of what we're saying and say that that's not true and that's an inaccurate characterization of this conversation, what's going on. I'm just frustrated they let the Red Sox get the mental edge again and the chip on their shoulder and potentially ignite their season. I don't know where the Red Sox season goes from here, but I do know that if the Yankees had swept the series or at least taken 2 out of 3 and pushed the Red Sox to 6 or 7 games under 500, the Red Sox season wouldn't be over. It wouldn't have been a death blow. But I think Craig Breslow is kind of a conservative idiot, and he would have sold. And now the Red Sox are 3 games under, surged offensively, again, after a couple of months of Red Sox fans assuring me they can't hit and they're useless. Well, they hit all weekend. The series was set up pretty well for the Red Sox entering it. They had Walker Buehler, who's our enemy, on Friday night against Will Warren. They had Garrett Crochet against Ryan Yarbrough on Saturday. That should be 2 wins. And then the Yankees went and played a pretty solid game on Friday, even though it included, one of those patented, Yankees up by a lot, here come the Red Sox pretty effortlessly. Bullpen chokes. Devin Williams nailed the door closed. Yankees held him off. That's a pretty big, rousing Friday night win to start the series. Now Crochet, Yarbrough is kind of a funny little, I don't expect to win that, but Yarbrough just slayed DeGrom and Yamamoto, so why can't he do it again kind of game? And the pressure's off for about 24 hours, and then you're expecting either we're going to win this game on some kind of miracle or we're going to lose it 5-1, right? Well, Ryan Yarbrough gets killed. Then the equation changes. The Red Sox offense is back. How's Sunday Night Baseball going to look? Pressure on Carlos Rodon's shoulders. It's a must win. Thankfully, they didn't have to salvage it. Thankfully, they weren't down 2-0. Thankfully, Buehler didn't show up. But pressure on Carlos Rodon's shoulders, pressure on the offense's shoulders after Hunter Dobbins called him out. And the Yankees went all day Sunday being like, I love that smoke. Let's go. Where's that smoke, Jazz Chisholm? I was promised smoke. But for the 8th consecutive year, the Yankees got pushed by someone who had no business talking to them. Then the Yankees talked back, but they didn't push back. They held a slim lead into the middle innings and got run over by, again, a Red Sox offense that is now alive. The Yankees have to go to Fenway next weekend. I didn't see a single thing this weekend after the first 2 innings on Friday that I liked. And I, in fact, saw pretty much everything I was dreading. And we'll go through it piece by piece. We'll talk about who we're most annoyed by. We'll talk about how they should plan out the next week, a rotation switch they should make that they didn't. They made one. They should have made a different one. They've got pitching they could use at AAA that they're not. And again, the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 at home against the Red Sox. It happens. It happens more often than it should. And how often does it happen when the Red Sox are 10 games behind the Yankees and they get a little jolt of emotion and play up to our level and instead of playing down to theirs? That happens a lot. How often do the Yankees, when they're 10 games behind the Red Sox in the standings, do anything to bother the Red Sox? It feels like literally never, but if anyone has an example of that, would love to hear it. Thomas Carannante, welcome to the show. We got plenty to talk about today. Cut the rants, turn on the megaphone. If you've got someone who's a Red Sox fan, this is probably the podcast you want them to hear, so send it on over. How are you doing? Bad, I presume.
Bad. Whatever. It's the frustrating part was that I fooled myself. I fooled myself into thinking they would handle the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know why. I haven't learned. Maybe this is where I get a reality check of sorts. But I guess that's the price you pay when things are starting to go a little bit again, this Yankees team has been largely different this year.
Yeah.
and you start to try to change the perspective instead of have, like, we talk about Yankees fans on social media kind of just with the self-fulfilling prophecy stuff where it's like, oh, of course this was going to happen. And it's like, you didn't even know that was a possibility. So what are you talking about? You're just writing in these random heartbreaking results before they even occur. Like, what are you talking about?
Everybody, we will talk about the Fire Boone people who were out again last night, and I think you've got some choice words for Aaron Boone, but all it takes is just like one bad game, and here it comes.
Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum for this series, Aaron Boone's my biggest culprit. We'll get to that, but in the larger picture, like, I'm not firing Aaron Boone again. Like, how many times are we gonna have it? We talked about it last 2 weeks ago. If he wasn't fired after 2022, it ain't happening.
I have said it 10 trillion times. I would have fired him after 2022. Yes. I'm not a diehard fan, but he came back and he hasn't done anything nearly as egregious since that moment in time. But the people who want to fire Boone can just point to the Nestor Cortez thing from last World Series. And I don't have a rebuttal to that. If you want to fire him after that move and just say that is enough for me, then I'll give it to you. But you start feeling like the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau a little bit, where it's like, everyone online called out the Knicks. Tibbs' defensive adjustments. He plays his starters too much. How can he not solve Cat and Brunson or whatever? And they go to Game 6 of the conference finals after the Knicks haven't done shit for 20 years. All the shit they've done in my lifetime is basically Jeff Van Gundy and Tom Thibodeau. But the internet wanted him fired, and James Dolan is the internet personified. So he goes ahead and fires him. And the first thought is, wow, okay. I mean, yeah, you could improve upon him theoretically, but they better have a great plan in place.
Yeah.
And then a week later, Jay Wright says no. Jason Kidd, the Mavericks, say no. And it's like, oh, right, okay. So that just was crazy. They didn't have a plan in place, and now it's way worse. That's what if they fire Aaron Boone, same deal. Oh, okay, wow. I mean, Aaron Judge must have approved this. Like, Jalen Brunson must have approved this. So if Aaron Judge approved it and they have a better move in the chamber, then okay. But then like 2 weeks would go by and you'd be like, so we're just going to hire like Tino Martinez then, I guess. Like, it would just be, you would start to feel like, wait a minute, like they're just going to hire another Aaron Boone, or like they don't know what they're doing. They're just going to hire a 34-year-old.
Or just, random man taking over. All right, figure it out. Can't be much worse. It's like, actually, it can be.
Somebody yelled at me online that it should be George Lombard, the Tigers bench coach. And that's a great idea, but like his son is our third baseman of the future. You're hiring his dad. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's not even what that's going to happen mid-season.
That's the kind of stuff that you deal with. That you genuinely have fans who are like, George Lombard's a great candidate. And I'm like, rebuttal. His son is going to be on the team. And they're like, I don't. So you want to keep Boone? It's like, think it over. No, I'm not hiring dads.
My biggest thing, and look, my biggest thing outside of whatever Aaron Boone did was the DNA of this team. Once again, it's, the Yankees haven't had that many spotlight moments this year.
It was yesterday's game for sure that illuminated this.
The spotlight moments came against the Dodgers. You saw what they did Friday night on Apple TV. You saw that they got destroyed on Saturday. And you could say that the win on Sunday Night Baseball against LA was like a step in the right direction, but they already had gotten pummeled in two different ways before then. So, like, if they got swept, it would have been the most feeble thing ever. So, like, yeah, I give them credit. They beat Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Bats came alive. They got the hits that they needed, whatever. But it was just like the damage had already been done. Like, nobody cared what happened on Sunday Night Baseball. Dodgers won the series. They won it in two different emphatic ways, and it was on to next week. It was, get me out of LA, whatever the result is, don't care. And then this weekend you have, and my issue with this entire series was that the Yankees never had control. You could look at the Friday night win. The Red Sox wouldn't fucking go away that entire game.
Correct.
Would not go away. It was not a coast-to-coast seamless win. It was an agonizing victory where the tying run or something close was coming up to the plate, and you were saying, great, one swing of the bat, someone's going to fuck up, and I'm going to hate myself.
Game 3, 2004 LCS. Like, I was watching with my dad. I was 13, and it was the Yankees. I don't know what their peak lead in that game was, but they won it 19-8. And the whole game he was going, I don't like how much they're coming back. And I'm saying, shut up. I mean, I'm 13. Shut up. They won by 11. But then that game watch experience maybe has shaped my entire post 2004 mentality. Like, it's never enough. And if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And it doesn't matter what the roster looks like. And it doesn't matter what the lineup has been doing previously. They're always going to show up for a Yankees series. And sometimes the Yankees are going to sweep them. It happens. But they never no-show. And the Yankees will often no-show to a Red Sox series. We'll see how next weekend goes. But that's either going to be this in reverse, where the Yankees take 2 out of 3 and Boston fans are like, what happened? Or it's going to be a total no-show. Yeah. And that'll say a lot about the season.
Well, and see, that's where it's problematic because, like, again, it's a version of playing down to your competition. But I do understand that it's a rivalry. So that doesn't really apply here. But in some instances it does, because like all of the Red Sox worst players this weekend stepped up. And the Yankees couldn't get that type of reciprocation, or again, certain decisions doomed them and certain people didn't rise to the occasion. And that's the DNA issue, right? Where it's like, all right, need somebody here. It's an important game. It's a rival. Everybody hates us. They're shit talking us. These guys are not good. Right now, the Red Sox roster, in my opinion, is a glorified AAA roster. It's a mix of like prospects still trying to find their way, and it's a mix of whatever veterans, like, Trevor Story, Abraham Toro, Romy Gonzalez. Like, I don't know what any of these guys are doing.
It's never going to be worse than this, and the pitching has been brutal. So, like, we all agree they're too talented to be under 500 on the whole, but they've lost Casas, they've lost Bregman, they've lost a lot of important pieces. If you're going to get them now. They're under 500 because they have half a lineup.
Yeah, exactly. It's capitalizing on when you can. It's a kicking them while they're down moment, right? They come into the series 5 games under 500, and they are not looking good by any means. Like, before this, we were just reading up on what people on social media were saying, and it couldn't have been a more dejected fan base, in my opinion, in terms of the frustration with the front office, in terms of the frustration with you want to talk fundamentals. This team has had problems with fundamentals all year. They have guys playing out of position. The defense is terrible. The situational hitting is bad. The failure in 1-run games. You want to cry about Aaron Boone, dude. This Red Sox team is 6-16 or something in 1-run games. It's absolutely unreal.
6-17, and we're at 11-11, and we were under for a while, but that usually evens out, which means the Red Sox are going to be all the scarier down the stretch. But again, fundamentals, hitting with wrist, defense. Rafael Devers is the worst third baseman in baseball for like 5 years. If you only watch Yankees-Red Sox games, you would think that was insane because he made crazy athletic plays against us time and again. The Red Sox have botched throws to home all year long, error after error. Like, they're up there with the Rockies for most errors. I think they're 29th in baseball in terms of, fewest errors this year. Didn't see it this weekend. Did not see it this weekend. And yes, their pitching was leaky and they left the door open a couple of times, but they got the big hit whenever they needed it. At no point after the first 2 innings of Friday night was I watching Yankees Red Sox going, wow, the Sox are overmatched. Like, the Yankees are putting their foot down on a team that is as low as it's going to be. And like you have noted, not a coincidence that the first 2 innings of Friday night went pretty well. Will Warren maintained his stuff. Then they let the Sox back in the game, and it ended up getting sweaty. But that was the only win. It was the only game you could feel somewhat good about, and it was the only one that was not on national television.
Yeah. And look, you look at how everything else kind of slipped through the cracks in this one too. Like Will Warren cruising through 5, then can't pitch to the bottom of the order.
Walk. It's untimely walks. It's always walks with this team. Walks and hit by pitch.
Rodon last night walking the number 8 hitter, who said Ceddanne Rafaela, who's hitting 220.
One of the weirdest players of all time. Yeah. Like, streaky lately, but 220 under then 700 OPS.
Then gives up a homer to the number 9 hitter, and that's where, again, cruising 4 innings, 50 pitches. You're like, wow. After kind of burning the bullpen the night before, I know they only used 3 relievers, but De Los Santos was pretty much out of action, and they had to definitely figure things out in terms of where to use high leverage because it was a different game. But it was like, dude, how is the unraveling happening here? Why is this happening with both these starters go pristine through 4 or 5 innings, and then the wheels come off? And it wasn't even like, oh man, third time around the order got him. It was like, no, random things happen that shouldn't have happened. Control issues just started popping up. Couldn't pitch to the bottom of the order for whatever reason. And then the bullpen, dude, I mean, give me a break. I know that there's some problems right now in terms of depth, but like everybody sucks.
Loizaga getting murked, like hard contact off Loizaga. Hard content, that's yanksgoyard.com, but hard contact, that's not Loizaga. Yeah, I mean, yesterday, again, like I'm trying to restrict how much I complain about one random June series. And again, I'm encouraged by the Yankees. They've gotten a lot of little miracles to start the year, and they're still 10 games up on the Red Sox in the loss column. And after next weekend, which could be a total disaster, they could tread water, but next weekend could be an absolute mess. But they won't see them again until August. They have a 4-game series in the Bronx in August, and they have 3 in Boston in September. Plenty of time to right the ship. The Red Sox will be better by then, and it's on you to be better as well. You can't discount them from the playoffs, all that stuff. They're going to get better as the year goes on. Probably. The Yankees should too. They should attack the trade deadline. They should know what they have. But you enter this series, and you're coming in, and it's hard to say, again, like I can't really emphasize enough that the series was set up nicely for the Red Sox with Buehler and Crochet against Warren and Yarbrough. And so entering the weekend, knowing how much trouble the Yankees have with the Red Sox and how this typically tends to go, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Boston takes the first 2 and the Yankees are left trying to salvage Sunday night. And I think they do. And I think in the worst case scenario, they lose this series and drop the first 2 and have some question marks and then win the final game 7-3 or whatever. And in progress yesterday, I was like, wow, I think they might win this one 3-1 or whatever. Joke's on me. Absolutely not. But they stomp on Buehler. It's really satisfying. And then, of course, the near 7-run choke in the opener, 8-1. It's not even the 7-0 lead. It's the 8-1 when Aaron Judge punched back and then the wheels fall off on Warren. But then from that point forward, every reliever except Devin Williams is unpitchable. Trevor Story, who I was told is just completely unusable, a dead end of his contract. Can't get him off the bases, drives in 5 on Saturday, hit a big home run late yesterday. Christian Campbell, who struck out looking and looked like he didn't want to be there to end the first game of the series, couldn't get him out. Found his power. He's been worth negative WAR this year. Bregman's not there. The offense still lights you up. Carlos Narvaez and Aroldis Chapman playing huge roles. 2 straight high-scoring, nonsensical Red Sox wins. I don't really have a problem with – it's impossible to get up on this podcast and be like, the New York Yankees are a joke unless they win Ryan Yarbrough versus Garrett Crochet. Like, Ryan Yarbrough has done enough. And the Yankees actually made Crochet look mortal.
Yeah.
You should be able to walk into Sunday Night Baseball after winning the Friday game with the series at 1-1 and go, all we need to do is have a representative Carlos Rodon start, have a representative offensive performance against Hunter Dobbins, who did not strike out a single batter in that game. Nobody has beaten the Yankees with no Ks since R.A. Dickey in 2015.
Really?
Hunter Dobbins hasn't been done. Hunter Dobbins talked shit, and it wasn't even shit. It was like light shit.
It was just dumb.
Hunter Dobbins talked fart. It was a stupid comment, but it got blown out of proportion. Or did it really? Because what did Jazz say? Like, this is
Free
fun.
smoke.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you free smoke. Like, everybody said this is fun. Nobody said Hunter Dobbins better watch his mouth. Like, I'm going to pump him full of, I'm going to hit a line drive off his kneecap. They were just like, all right, great. This is fun. You win Sunday Night Baseball, and I'm not talking about the 7-run choke, and I'm not talking about Garrett Crochet and Ryan Yarbrough. I'm writing that off and saying, I mean, yeah, the score was different than I expected, but the Yankees showed fight. Like, I'm impressed by Saturday's game if they win Sunday's game. And then total and complete mess, meltdown, annihilation. And I can blame 15 different parties, but you want to talk about a 1-game swing in the season, and the Yankees now have the chance to rewrite their own narrative. But heading into Fenway next weekend with, you've got to presume, Roman Anthony there, that building is going to be juiced up. And if the Yankees had taken this series, it wouldn't have been. It would have been moderately juiced for Yankees-Red Sox. But a bunch of Boston fans would have been begrudgingly showing up, and the Yankees probably would have punched them in the mouth in the first inning. And then they would have put 2 on the board, and a bunch of Boston fans would be going, we're not going to win, though. And then the Yankees probably would have taken 2 out of 3 in that series. Now that building's going to be loud. You're going to be really thankful you don't have Sunday night baseball. The Yankees have switched the rotation slightly, and we'll talk about that. And it's like 70% good, but also 30% what are you doing? And that means that next week is going to mean something for a whole bunch of people who previously were just going to kind of have a rowdy Friday and Saturday on the town, watching the Red Sox and hating the Yankees, but sort of aimlessly so. Now it's got a lot of meaning because the Red Sox went into the Yankees' house and took the rubber game and took it over an all-star pitcher and took it against the beleaguered bullpen and took it to the Yankees, kept expanding the lead, kicked them, and it was a former Yankee who got the biggest hit of the game, and Carlos Narvaez, who was like, I was going to bunt, but then I homered instead. Then Aaron Judge was like, I'm really proud of him. He's a hard worker. Is that the one trade the Yankees didn't ask Aaron Judge about, by the way? Like, it seems like he has input on every move they make, but Carlos Narvaez, they just thought they'd sneak him out the door, and the Judge is like, I really like that guy. You traded him to where? I presume the NL West? Oh, the Red Sox?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. I'll rant about that in a little bit.
Yeah, people were talking. Like, we can talk about that now quickly. I mean, people were. I saw Max Goodman on social media, and a bunch of people were just like, "Can't believe the Yankees made this trade. Why the hell would they do this?" And look, he made a good point. He was like, "Well, the prospect they got in return, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, is not a slouch. Like, looks really good.
Seems to be awesome." Yeah,
which I think, that saves it a little bit. But if you look at the Yankees offseason situation, you're looking at a catching depth like area of need, and you have Narvaez here. He's a right-handed hitter, and you could pair him with Austin Wells. It seems like the logical decision. And then you literally get rid of all of your catchers, and you, again, like JC Escara, he is what he is. I think he's a fine player. He's played in 23 games this year, so it's not like the end of the world. But like, you traded away like Carlos Narvaez was considered a top prospect once upon a time, and you helped the Red Sox out, who had a catching problem. Like, they had Connor Wong, who was injured. And they didn't really have anybody else.
They traded Kyle Teal. Like, they stripped their own catching depth. They had nothing.
And you repaired it for them. So, like, it has nothing. The trading Carlos Narvaez just in general, like you said, we went to the NL West. And yeah, sure. They saw an opportunity to upgrade the farm system, and they decided to do it. Okay, fair. You trade him to the Red Sox. Anytime a trade happens with the Red Sox, it will be under a microscope. And now it is. And it's honestly been like, this is not a new conversation for Yankees fans. This trade was questioned in the offseason because, again, the Yankees had catching issues of their own, and they had to regroup, and they regrouped by tearing it all down and then giving the backup position to a player who isn't a catcher. So again, like, rack your brain with that and try to make sense of that, because I still haven't been able to. And then they gave a catcher with high upside to a team that could directly affect their well-being in general, mental well-being and well-being in the standings, both for the division race and the playoffs. So it's like, that's the problem. The problem isn't that the Yankees decided that they had a window to trade Carlos Narvaez. It's the Yankees had a window to trade Carlos Narvaez, and they helped out a rival who had a problem with that specific roster area, and they tore down their own. So that's the problem. And then, of course, what happens? It's essentially what ends up being the game-winning homer on Sunday Night Baseball against the Yankees Cy Young candidate. So this is what happens to the Yankees. You make a trade, and in your mind, I guess you think it's good or you think it's shrewd, and then it comes back to bite you, and then you rightfully have people questioning it. But the thing that people need to realize is, like, people did not start questioning this last night. This has been... We were waiting. We're like, oh, great. When's Carlos Narvaez going to kick our ass as a Red Sox? And it fucking happened on Sunday. So don't go ahead and tell me that now this is a new Yankees fans gripe because they have nothing better to do. This has been a discussion for 4 months now.
He's been the rare Red Sox that's actually been good this whole time, too.
Yeah.
Everybody else, Trevor Story and Christian Campbell, woke up against us. Narvaez has been consistently great for months on end. And maybe this is as good as he ever gets. I don't know that.
Could be. I don't know
anything. And I think Elmer Rodriguez Cruz is a great addition, and he's been awesome down at High A this year. But that is the difference between the way that fans think and the way that the team thinks and has perspective on what they do. And I understand that teams should not operate based on the way that fans feel. And I will blanket statements.
Fire Aaron Boone.
Yeah, Aaron Boone would have been fired 9 times already. But the team should not just say, how will fans feel about this when they operate? That should not be the guiding light when the Yankees are making personnel moves. But in an instance like this, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz better be so special that there's no comparable pitching prospect that you could obtain anywhere else. And if that is the case, if he's the ace of the Yankees for 10 years, or if he's the centerpiece of a blockbuster at the deadline and allows them to do something they never would have done, then that's a completely different situation. And that sheds a different light on this entirely. But for now, the team is thinking, we got fair value. It's a success. We got a great pitching prospect that the Red Sox were giving away for whatever reason. We thought we could fix him, and we did. We gave the Red Sox a player who would have been our backup catcher at best because we believe in Austin Wells, and Austin Wells looked great this weekend. So I believe in Austin Wells too. I think Austin Wells is a starting caliber player. I think Narvaez would have been a great backup. It is what it is. But the team is saying fair value. We got something we coveted. We gave away something we coveted. This will increase trust. People will view us as willing and trade partners that don't just give away garbage in exchange for what we value. This is good process. And if the Red Sox end up profiting, we already got what we wanted as well. So it'll end up being 50-50. But fans just see the Red Sox getting better in 2025 and beyond because of you. And I don't know how the team is supposed to tell fans that they're wrong because the fans aren't. I don't think the benefit outweighs the cost. I think you can get your pitching prospects somewhere else. And if Rodriguez Cruz ends up being a totally unique unicorn, and we're keeping this take pretty reasonable because we're leaving open the possibility that happens 2 to 3 years from now. I don't think the Yankees front office should be gutted or fired because of this. But if he ends up just being a really good pitching prospect, there are other ones of those, and you don't have to directly increase your biggest rival's chances of winning the AL East, a playoff spot, the World Series in 2025 and beyond. You didn't have to do that. You could have found the Padres have a serious catching hole. You don't like any of the Padres pitching prospects? Elmer Rodriguez Cruz wasn't on anyone's radar before this season. He was like a top 30 guy. You don't like anyone on the Padres as much as you like Elmer Rodriguez Cruz? You can't figure out a way to maybe navigate this a little bit better? Keeping Narvaez is also an option. But if you want to trade him, then I am on the side of find the pitching prospect you're looking for somewhere else. If you're trying to build up Rodriguez Cruz to be a deadline asset, find the pitching prospect you're looking for somewhere else. You drafted like 12 last July, by the way.
Yeah.
In the draft. You drafted like 1 million pitching prospects. So, Agustin Ramirez is on the Marlins. He's kicking ass. But how often do I think about that? Almost never. I'm going to be thinking about Carlos Narvaez every day for the rest of the year.
I think of Carlos Narvaez before I go to sleep and when I wake up. So that's my life.
Yep.
No, just kidding. No, it's just it's frustrating because, again, you had the need. You gave the need to a rival who also had even more of a glaring need than you did. And the return, again, if Elmer Rodriguez Cruz turns out to be a Cy Young candidate, okay, cool. If he turns out to be a depth rotation starter that comes and goes, then I don't give a shit. No, and again, you could have found that anywhere. Whatever, though. This is more and look, who else got out of a jam against us last night? I know this wasn't a trade, but Garrett Whitlock. Who else had a weekend against us? Our oldest Chapman.
Weissert.
Greg Weissert got out of a jam last night. Like there's a clear, like you can see what the Red Sox are doing, don't you? It's obvious. They go after former Yankees players in some capacity to have that edge and to bring that storyline to the table because in a sense you can control the media that way and you can control the mental warfare and all that. So, maybe that's an exaggeration, but it feels like it runs deeper than just like, oh man, we can, get these players on our team because they sure are good fits for what we're trying to do. It's like, not really. Like a lot of other relievers out there than Aroldis Chapman, a lot of other Rule 5 draft picks out there than Garrett Whitlock, a lot of other trade candidates out there than Greg Weissert. But, they offloaded a problem on us in Alex Verdugo. They knew exactly what they were doing. It cost us a World Series. Just saying, stop fucking doing this. People don't. But why is it not the same conversation? And look, like I'm not on board with never do business with that team ever. Like a lot of what people said about the Rays in their heyday. It's like, don't trade with the Rays, because if they want somebody from you, that means they know a lot more than you do, and they're going to maximize that asset, and you're going to look like an idiot, which was true to an extent. It became even more true because it was like, why would you trade within the division if you don't have to? This was a prime example of trading not only within the division, but with your most hated rival when you absolutely did not need to. I could reason with the Verdugo trade, right? Like I could understand where somebody was coming from with that. And it made sense. It didn't make sense to me because I never would have made that deal. But the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, Judge's guy needed lefty outfield help. Thought you could turn it in your favor. And man, that would have been epic if you did, but you didn't. But at the same time, it's like if a team like that is willing to give you a player of that caliber or whatever you think that player might turn into, more times than not, you're not going to see it through the right way.
Justin Wilson. Rob Refsnyder.
Yeah.
Like these are not guys the Yankees gave directly to the Red Sox, but there they are. They're there for the weekend. I mean, it's just you hit the nail on the head that the Rays thing, people always say, don't deal with the Rays. They know something you don't. Like the Verdugo thing should have raised some serious red flags. I don't think this Red Sox front office is any great shakes at this point. Like Craig Breslow has a long way to go before I'm like, credit where credit's due. That guy's a shrewd genius, because right now he screwed up his relationship with his most important player, and it hasn't manifested on the field. But not to go to the Knicks again, like eventually you got to pay the piper. Like the Knicks lost the conference finals, and now everyone's fighting with everybody. And some of that was because of what went on behind the scenes and the playing time issue and a bunch of Tibbs stuff we didn't know. So if the Red Sox crash out of the playoffs this year or don't make the playoffs, you're going to start hearing some stuff because of what they did to Rafael Devers. So I don't think that's a front office you can't touch, but how many ex-Yankees are thriving there, and how many ex-Red Sox are thriving in New York, and how long has it been since one has done that? Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens, and Johnny Damon. Like, who are the ex-Red Sox who have gone on to be valuable Yankees? Since we're talking about really high, we're talking about the Yankees taking Hall of Famers. We're talking about the Yankees taking the Johnny Damon was it was crazy that Johnny Damon decided he wanted to do that, by the way. It's still insane. But we're talking about the Yankees flexing their financial muscles and going, how about a 50% raise? You want to come play for the Yankees? You want to shave? And then Red Sox go, oh, okay, yeah. Wade Boggs getting disrespected in his final years in Boston. Hey, how about more money? Oh, great. I'll go do that. And I love those players. And that's a fun little narrative edge. But the Red Sox have stolen in trades or Rule 5s or, minor league flyers, or even just remembering a Refsnyder. We used to like him when he was a Yankee. He's available. Yeah, let's grab him or whatever. And they've unlocked or maximized or raised the ceiling on 7 of these people. And I genuinely can't name the last time the Yankees shrewdly nabbed somebody from the Red Sox who made a difference. And maybe it's Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz. And if it is, that's great. And he looks good so far. And it's a good trade if you are an emotionless computer head guy in the Yankees front office going, the future value of both of these participants in the trade is roughly equivalent. Then great, congrats to you. You made a trade. But this is the Red Sox we're talking about. And every time Carlos Narvaez, you better believe that there's a chance Carlos Narvaez fails. You can't make that trade being like, Narvi's a great guy. And we like Rodriguez-Cruz too. And look, now we both have guys that we like. You better think there's a flaw in Narvaez's game and that there's a chance he won't hit that mid-tier ceiling. Because if you're just like, everyone will be good, then you've made a bad trade because you've made the Red Sox better.
Yeah, and really what it comes down to is like the Red Sox front office has been down bad for a while between Chaim Bloom and now Craig Breslow. Why even give them an opportunity to rebound by making deals with them? Why? Let them do whatever they're fucking doing because they're sucking at whatever they're doing. This team's a mess right now. It's been a mess for a while. Alex Cora is still, to me, a nothing manager, has done nothing of note since 2018, and I'm not even going to count 2021 because I don't care enough to count it. It doesn't mean anything. And that, again, that was more of an outlier than anything that felt real and tangible. So For me, it's just let them do whatever they're doing and let them flounder and fall apart and stop getting involved in it, because it only can come back to bite you, because it never works out in your favor anyway. Moving on. Who pissed us off? Who else pissed us off directly?
Yeah, this is tough. This is a tough question, and I feel like you have probably the more holistic handle on this. But I mean, my most disappointing, I touched on it earlier, just my most disappointing Yankee in the series is I'm not saying it's Rodon, because I've loved his season.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, again, I don't have an ounce of an issue with Saturday's game. If Carlos Rodon throws 7 shutout or 7-1 run or 7-2 run, like I know he has in him.
You mean Sunday's game?
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't have an issue with Saturday at all. I forget about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
If Rodon does what I know he's capable of. So I'm not disappointed in him. I'm disappointed that the math was easy on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Once you win Friday night, all you have to do is have an all-star who I believe in put up an all-star performance. The offense showed up, but not enough. So, but I can't pin it on Rodon. So I'm going to pin it on Jazz a little bit, because we had some smack talk yesterday. We had Jazz firing up the guys. We had Aaron Judge hitting a 2-run homer in the first, getting them off on the right foot. Again, no strikeouts. Lots of opportunities for the Yankees to make hard contact. Ben Rice got robbed. Tim Hill got robbed by the umps. I mean, these things happen. But the Yankees offense just didn't do anywhere near what they needed to do through the first 5 innings of this game. And after going down 7-3, had the bases loaded and 1 out and a chance to capitalize, and Jazz at the plate, we just got a little sac fly. And then eventually batter after batter after batter reached that inning. They put another run across. But you go down 7-3, you're telling me there's smoke on Sunday night? Gap or double there, man. Line drive single up the middle there, man. Anything. Keep the line moving. That at-bat was the difference in the game. Rodon and that at-bat. But I can't pile on Rodon. These things happen. 7-3, the circumstances are there for you to come back pretty much immediately. And all we got was a little looper in the left field from somebody who said, here comes some smoke. And then there was no smoke. So the Yankees, the only team this year, not the only team this year, but they have yet to overcome a 3-run deficit in a baseball game. There are 3 teams that don't have a single win after trailing by 3+ runs. The Brewers are 0-20, and that's not how they roll, right? They win 2-1 or they lose. Like pitching and defense,
they win 2-1 or they lose.
They've been roughly 500, right? They've been okay. The Rangers, one of the most disappointing offensive teams this year, 0-18. They're also in the stat. The Yankees are 0-15. Again, just need some big wins on the resume. Been largely very impressed with this Yankees team.
Give me 3.
We finally got a couple late inning comebacks, right? We finally started to turn a couple of corners. No wins when trailing by 3+ runs midway through June, and you're in first place is egregious. So I'm going to put it on Jazz's shoulders, and I'm going to say I accept the Rodon blip. I'm just upset and kind of sad that there was a pretty simple path to series win here, and the Yankees offense eventually touched up the Red Sox bullpen, and we just got the worst Rodon start of the year, because that's what happens when you need to beat the Red Sox, apparently, if you're the Yankees these days. But who are you most disappointed in?
My answer is Aaron Boone. And I admire your response, because that's the hard response, right? Because in my mind, if I were, it's one of Jazz or Rodon, and I don't think either of those assessments are fair necessarily, but life is
Jazz was great on Friday night. And it's also just, that's the problem with boiling it down to one swing game, because it was basically just Jazz wasn't good enough yesterday and Rodon wasn't good enough yesterday. And that's not a value judgment. They've both been incredible. Jazz in the last week since coming back from injury, incredible. Rodon for 2 months, incredible. Yeah. But that's what's so frustrating. I was told the Red Sox can't hit. Well, they can. They beat around your best pitcher this weekend. Great. Second best. Great.
Yeah. So for those two guys, there are a couple of things that are upsetting, but there's also, like you said, Rodon on a tear. Can't really get mad at him, much like you couldn't get mad at Yarbrough on Saturday. If you did, I don't know where your head's at. But for Rodon, it was a little bit more than that, because, again, these blowups do happen with him, and these blowups happen in inexplicable moments with him. And, again, cruising and then randomly falling apart, like that's, again, against inferior competition. So it wasn't like he had the meat. It's not like Devers got him again. You know, it's not like the best hitter on the Red Sox came up and just absolutely abused him. It's just not what happened. So like that's where it's a toss up. And for Jazz, like, yeah, I'm going to say this. If you don't like Jazz talking shit, then I think you're a loser, because this team has needed a shit talker for a while, and you don't want the top player on the team to be the shit talker. You don't want Aaron Judge to be the shit talker, because then that's more of a target on his back than you already need.
Yeah.
So he needs his soldiers to do the shit talking. I think Jazz is a perfect player for that because A, he's an incredible personality, animated in many ways. Like, you see him shooting the shit with the umpires on the field. Like, everyone likes this guy.
Yes.
Even if he's talking shit to you, like, there's a version of you that's like, this dude, not bad, not too bad. Yeah. So I support that type of edge because, like, the Yankees need it. And, like, does Jazz have that edge, that, like, the real FU edge? No, he has more of the playful edge where it's like, hey, free smoke at 7:00. See you there, Hunter. See you there, buddy. It's going to be a good time.
He's like the human, I see what you did there, guy. It's like, all right, okay, I see you.
100%. So I can't get mad at Jazz because the sentiment was there. He just didn't deliver, but, you know, sac fly again, swinging at the first pitch, and, like, probably might have been a ball, might have been a little bit outside that pitch. So it's hard. For me, though, it's Aaron Boone. Why is it Aaron Boone? Okay, let's go back to Friday. Will Warren shits his pants. Okay, great, whatever. Who are we going to with the bases loaded? Brent Hedrick. Why? Is it because a lefty's up? I don't know. Like, again, this bullpen situation is very difficult. I can't parse through the whole thing. They need to figure it out, but Hedrick is not the guy to bring in there in the base load and then keep in there again to face Rafael Devers, who homers off of him. Yeah. So, like, what are you doing, dude? Second thing that I have an issue with Aaron Boone with. Saturday's game. So Crochet's on the mound. Jason Dominguez can't hit lefties. Who's on the fucking who's he facing? The best lefty, arguably, in the American League. Him and Max Fried. It's those two pitchers. Those are the two best lefties. One of them's on your team, so Jason Dominguez can't face him, and the other one is on your rival. Yeah. So you are going to play Jason Dominguez, have him go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and then you're going to bench him against the righty on Sunday Night Baseball. So you make him play to the weaker side of his switch hitting abilities against the best pitcher in baseball. He completely sucks, and then you give him the night off on Sunday Night Baseball when it's completely in his wheelhouse to face a righty who doesn't strike out batters, and he can hit from the left side of the plate. And then on top of that, if I see Ian Hamilton in the 9th inning, if I see Ian Hamilton in the 7th through 9th inning again, I'm out. This all year, Ian Hamilton, even if it's mop-up duty, he's coming in the 8th or 9th. He gives up a run every single time. You bring this game within reach, 8-7. DJ LeMahieu, by the way, good series.
Good series.
2-run single in the 8th. You're down by a run. You bring in Ian Hamilton in the 9th. Shits the bed. The game's over now. 8-7 goes to 10-7. Game's over. Shitty managing. Doesn't matter how you put it. Then you have Sunday night where it was more than evident that Carlos Rodon had to be removed after the first 2 batters in the 6th inning. More than evident. Do not let him pitch to the right-handed batter. You let him pitch to the right-handed batter, he gives up a 3-run homer. Did I predict the 3-run homer? No, but I sat there and I said, this is only going to get worse. He is not inducing a double play ball here. He is not inducing an easy out. He is either working the pitch count up even more to either move the runners over, or this guy's getting walked. That was my prediction. And then he gives up a 3-run homer. And then after that, once again, you use 2 of your best relievers before that inning ends. And you give Jonathan Loaisiga split inning. I'm sorry. You give Jonathan Loaisiga after that split inning duty. So you use Tim Hill for 5 fucking pitches. Then you go straight to Loaisiga. He does split inning duty. He gets absolutely shelled. And then that's the end of the game at that point. Even though the Yankees started to chip away again, they ended up scoring 7 runs. So Aaron Boone, no idea what he's doing with the bullpen. Again, I've largely been mum on this because I've said it since the beginning of the season. The pitching staff is a very hard thing to navigate this year with all the injuries. But guess what? It's mid-June. It is mid-June. This is your chief rival. Figure it out, and enough with the dancing around. I don't understand what it is. We saw it in the Dodgers series too. He brings in Gary De Los Santos. Somehow the game comes down to Gary De Los Santos with runners in scoring position in the 7th inning. The last guy in your bullpen is facing the heart of the Dodgers order when the game is on the line in the 7th inning, what went wrong and how? Because again, I can't go through it and say, oh, should have made this decision, should have made that decision. It's just the fact that we've gotten to this point, and we should never be at this point. We should not 2 weeks in a row, definitely not 2 weeks in a row, and definitely not against the Boston Red Sox. So there's a couple of lineup decisions in here and here's the other one. So Saturday, that Volpe's out because he gets hit by the pitch on Friday, and Saturday's Jazz Chisholm's scheduled day off, and you're going to play Jason Dominguez against the lefty, and then you're going to bench Austin Wells on Sunday Night Baseball in favor of, getting a day off for JC Escar. So, what are all these decisions? You put up a punt lineup on Saturday, essentially, by giving Dominguez the game against Crochet and by putting fucking Pablo Reyes in there. And then on Sunday, you also go with a weaker lineup, in a sense, by not having Austin Wells, who killed the Red Sox all weekend. So to me, it was managing. Really pissed me off.
I don't think you're wrong on any of those points. And
Austin Wells had 4 hits and fucking 4 RBIs in 2 games.
I don't think you're wrong on any of those points. And I think Cruz, if he's coming into that game, should probably come in against Narvaez with first and second. Although, obviously, we all know 3-2 lead, first and second, nobody out. Here come the Red Sox best hitters. You're probably boned anyway. But I would bring in the high strikeout reliever. The Yankees pitching staff has to clean up the walks. It's getting egregious. And I think that's there's nothing Aaron Boone can do about that. But performance-wise, the reason all these guys flatlined is because they can't control and command right now. And last year, they couldn't get swings and misses. And this year, they can, but they're so skittish in these big moments. And last night shouldn't have even been a big moment. No. And somehow it was. Ian Hamilton, by the way, has a minor league option. So as long as he's Boone's toy, and Aaron Boone is thinking of Ian Hamilton as the guy from last year, and more importantly, the guy from 2023, he's going to use him down 1 in the 9th after the Yankees have fought back and made that a game. But he shouldn't even have this tool in his toolbox right now because he started the year slow on the IL just to build up because he was sick in spring training. And you could send him to AAA to continue to work his arm out and build up his resume if you wanted to right now. They did it with Scott Efros, where they basically said, the rehab is over. We don't see what we need to. You're not coming to the big league roster. Ian Hamilton should be at AAA right now. And I don't know what Alan Weinanz is, by the way. He had a 15 ERA and 2 starts with Atlanta last year. I don't know what Alan Weinanz is. I can't get on a soapbox and say the Yankees are doing themselves a disservice by not promoting Alan Weinanz. But the Yankees are doing themselves a disservice by not figuring out what Alan Weinanz can do at the big league level. Is he short relief? Probably not. Is he long relief? Can he do 3 innings more efficiently than Yerry De Los Santos can? And then Yerry can be a 1-inning guy? Maybe. Does Brent Hedrick have to be here? Does Hamilton have to be here right now? And again, you're saying Weinanz is Adam. How do you know he's the solution to our problems? I absolutely don't. But I'd like to know how a guy with a 0.23 ERA in 39 innings at AAA would do on the big league roster right now. I'd like to know what he has for me. Right now, I know nothing. All I know is that this veteran with big league experience has the craziest number I've ever seen in a 39-inning sample of an ERA column in my time watching baseball at the major and minor league level. He doesn't allow runs ever at AAA. He struck out more than a batter per inning. He's at 45 and 39. Don't need to see him prove anything else in Scranton. Don't know if he has what it takes to help the Yankees pitching staff. Yep. But I'd really like to find out, folks.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it has nothing to do with, this is an obvious solution. It's no, this guy, you need to figure out what he is for just the sake of the roster, right? And for the sake of the trade deadline. I guess, could they be using him and stashing him at AAA to increase his value so teams don't even question what he could do at the major league level when the time comes? Possibly, but guess what? You need pitching. You need it now. You've needed it since the start of the year, so I don't know what we're playing games for in order to determine potential trade value, if that's even what they're doing. I don't understand. Ian Hamilton has had moments of looking okay this year, and then moments of just, what are you doing, man? He's given up a lot of hard contact, and that Rangers series, he looked super shaky, and they continued to, they pitched him in a bunch of games that didn't matter. The Colorado 13-1 win, the Dodgers 18-2 win. And then I know he came in and he did a really good job in that Angels game, but the Angels weren't hitting. I don't know what happened to the Angels for that series. They got their power zapped, but that was more time and consequence in terms of the Angels failing, I think, than it was Ian Hamilton executing, because we haven't seen that consistency from Ian Hamilton really at all this season outside of a short stretch in April. So, and again, now we're in mid-June almost, and he can't be the guy to stop the bleeding for you in Saturday night's game when he hasn't proven that he could stop the bleeding in over a month now, in 6 weeks. So, I mean, to me, it's just, it's baffling. And like the fact that something has to be said about the Red Sox scoring this many runs. I know the Red Sox offense isn't pathetic, but it's not 27 runs good against the Yankees.
Not yet.
Whose pitching staff is, the Yankees don't have the Yankees have a good pitching staff, in fact. I understand that in theory, the Red Sox got to see two of the Yankees' weaker pitchers, because Ryan Yarbrough, I like him a lot, but like, I don't know if many teams would classify him as a true starting pitcher, even though he's kind of emerged as that. And Will Warren has been a roller coaster all season. So mixed bag, no matter the opponent for him. But they got to face Rodon, and that felt like the only constant. And that was, in my opinion, Aaron Boone's fault. Like, yes, Carlos Rodon is the player. He's to blame because of whatever happened there. I don't know if he got too pumped up again. Who knows? I don't know. Don't know what the deal is, but something happened. And to have him, you look at the Red Sox lineup, right? And it's like, it's not great, but why are you going to have Rodon pitch to the cleanup hitter after he's completely lost control and he put two runners on in the inning? Like, Aaron Boone is famous for like being completely inefficient on the other end of the spectrum, right? Garrett Cole could be cruising through 7 and then he gives up a leadoff single in the 8th. And then Aaron Boone's like, nope, that's it. You're out. Now we're going to give Carlos Rodon, who famously melts down when the situation starts to snowball. You're going to give him the third batter of the inning against the cleanup hitter. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's inconsistent decision-making, and it's more of that bullpen stuff that we're worried about in big moments. Like, yeah, I'm not going to have the magnifying glass out for the bullpen decisions against the Rockies. Against the Dodgers and the Red Sox, yeah, because that's where the moments are going to come down to, and that's where you're going to need to prove your mettle, and I haven't seen it this year.
And in terms of decision-making, it goes even deeper than that, because Ryan Yarbrough, over the weekend, your hope is that he could just ride this heater, and he doesn't. And the Red Sox put up their lineup that mashes lefties. They got Romy Gonzalez, and they've got Rob Refsnyder, of course, and they just take the task. And they own him. And it is what it is, right? The Red Sox have unlocked. The Red Sox were the first team to take advantage of his subpar command and just kind of beat him up a little bit. I get it, and that's going to get even worse at Fenway Park, where you've got the stupid wall in left field. Both teams can use it, but I don't want to see anybody using it on the Boston Red Sox. And it's way easier to take a soft tossing lefty to the monster or over it than it is to take a different kind of pitcher out there. Remember how often Nestor Cortez would pitch at Fenway and people would just say, this ain't going to go well. He shouldn't be doing that. And he often was very hit or miss there. Quite sketchy, because the ballpark is not built for him. The ballpark is not built for Ryan Yarbrough. This is not conjecture. Ryan Yarbrough specifically has a 7.11 ERA in 10 games at Fenway. Member of the Rays, been a member of the Royals. He's been around the American League, and he's certainly been in the AL East before. It would behoove the Yankees to get Ryan Yarbrough out of that series. You have an off day today. You can move things around so that Ryan Yarbrough pitches against the Royals and somebody else takes a start at Fenway Park. Probably Will Warren. And then you have Warren, Crochet, and you have Rodon on Saturday. And then the Yankees have made a rotation switch. They have used the off day to their advantage. Max Fried is starting the opener in Kansas City, meaning Max Fried starts Sunday at Fenway. So no Clark Schmidt. You get Fried instead. That's great. You need to find a way to get him into the Spotlight Series. It's a bummer he wasn't in this one. But instead of Rodon, Fried, and Warren in the opener, you're going to have Yarbrough anyway. And I'm not getting on Yarbrough. I'm not saying, auto loss. I mean, Crochet. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
you are maximizing your potential of winning that game if you move Yarbrough into the Kansas City series, a stadium that is better built for what he does best, a roster and lineup that is better built for him to attack. You are pretty much conceding the opener if you start someone who just bombed against the same lineup that just killed him in an environment that is less conducive to his success. And the Yankees did show willingness to move the rotation around, and they put Fried in the series. They put Yarbrough in there too, and you're just neutering whatever you did moving the bodies around. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could be wise enough to say we're going to maximize one percentage and then say we're good with keeping that percentage low in the opening game.
Got to do it. You can't, in my opinion, you can't lose 2 out of 3 in Fenway now. Like, you just can't. I know that it's especially if you have Fried and Rodon going in the series, there's no excuse. And that's what it's going to come down to.
In the same way the Red Sox were set up in this one, though, with their first 2 dudes, like the Yankees are kind of set up to win games 2 and 3 after maybe not being set up for the opener. And that's funny and weird and annoying that we're probably going to ride into Fenway next weekend and based on the early projections, have a chance to do the exact same thing to the Red Sox that they did to us this weekend. But that's how we'll know where the 2 franchises stand, because I don't think the Red Sox are going to take that shit. I think they're going to be ready for that punch. Yeah. And I would be willing to bet that it's going to be way harder for us to do that than it was for them to do with us.
Yeah. And it's just, it's just weird how the Red Sox wake up to play us. Like,
they do.
Marcelo Meyer, first career major league home run against the Yankees. Fucking of course. Christian Campbell mired in the worst slump of his Major League Baseball career, like heading into the last 2 series that he's played. Game-changing home run in the finale on the biggest stage of the regular season. Trevor Story, like, everyone's calling for him to get DFA'd. 3 hits, 5 RBIs on Saturday, and driving force. Like, Rafael Devers, still pitching up to him up in the zone. Still going to do it. That's another manager thing for me. Why are we doing it? Why? Low and away. Low and in. Carlos Rodon had him sinker in. Got him twice with that. Keep doing it. Why is anything up in the zone to Rafael Devers? Coaching, strategizing, scouting, all that. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen with this team sometimes. And that's it. I know the Red Sox are not bad, but they're also very much not good. They have a ton of talent. It's completely disoriented and disorganized, and that's where a better team that's more organized and more structured takes advantage of that. And the Yankees didn't. They let talent get the best of them, and they let the mental edge crumble right before their eyes. So got to do better next weekend. And I know we got to focus on the Royals tomorrow, but I'm not there yet. Off day today. I'm going to be thinking about this, and I want to throw my hat.
Yeah, and next weekend's going to be way harder. So the easier series, you already lost it. You're lucky you didn't get swept. Could have gotten swept. Maybe you should have given up if they had just given up a big hit on Friday night and they got swept, then we're maybe disbanding the podcast here. But they barely survived one. Devin Williams was efficient. The last 3 innings of that game, snap. It was weird how quickly that went. But then Saturday, mess. Sunday, mess. And they lost at the margins. And they lost at the margins, but they also just lost emphatically at every turn. Yeah. They lost every head-to-head battle on Saturday and Sunday, and now they go in, and the Red Sox are more than just smelling blood.
What was the risk here? 8 runners left on base last night, 1 for 5. 3 runners left on base on Saturday. That feels impossible. 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Like, how you don't win a game where you leave 3 runners on base and almost bat 500 with runners in scoring position is fucking crazy to me. And then Friday night they win 9-6, 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position, 10 runners left on base. They should have won that game 15-4, and the momentum would have completely shifted. Instead of, they kept letting the Red Sox back in this game. They're up 8-1. It turns into 8-4 and then 9-6. And it's like, just bury them once, just once. I didn't ask for a series sweep. I didn't even ask for a series win. Just wanted one emphatic victory, and you can't even get it when the matchup is clearly in your favor.
I wanted a series win. Hey, maybe
I wanted a series win, but I know better than to ask for that.
Schedule gets a little bit easier for the Yankees after next weekend's Red Sox series, but not that matters. They're about to face 3 nasty pitchers in Kansas City, and then they're going to Boston where everybody hates you. So best of luck. Show me what you got this week, and then you can take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit before Toronto at the end of the month. But if the foot's off the gas pedal, you still got to win those games, right? You keep the foot wherever you want to put the foot. Win the fucking baseball games no matter where your foot is. If he needs to be on the pedal, keep it on the pedal. Win baseball games.
Yeah, I mean, it's another series where it's like, what are we doing? Aaron Judge is on base for he's 500 on base percentage this series,
up to 396.
Absolutely
2 homers
destroying
last night. The number of articles I read last night where sometimes you play the game because I so fondly remember being in Italy last summer and not watching the Yankees and waking up in the morning and looking at the MLB app and seeing what the headlines are and knowing how the game went. It's like 4 errors in sloppy catastrophe. And you're like, that sounds bad. So many headlines today where Aaron Judge 2 homers. Aaron Judge is doing something ridiculous. Quotes about Judge, teammates going, man, he's on another level. Goldschmidt after the game, like the SNY clips that were coming out were him being like, man, he does something special every day. And I'm like, oh, they must have won going away. Oh, they do it emphatically. Oh, great. I would have never known that based on what I'm reading and seeing today. Yeah. Nobody covered the score of the game. Everybody just covered Judge's 2 homers. And Judge was incredible. And you should not lose a series where Aaron Judge is that good against a high-quality opponent.
Yep. I don't know. Fuck it. It's over. We got one more before we get a bit of a break, right? They don't face him again until August after this?
They don't face him at all until the end of August and the Yankees' upcoming schedule. If anybody wants to dream, which I don't know, who wants to dream? I mean,
I'd rather
avoiding a June swoon or whatever. They've got the Angels for 4 at Yankee Stadium next week, the Orioles for 3 at Yankee Stadium. Then they go to Cincinnati for 3, and then they'd have an off day and come back and face the A's. None of that makes any sense, but those are all series where, there are no walkovers, but there are no Red Sox waiting for you. So we'll see how they do.
Guess we'll see. Royals tomorrow, who are they facing?
Everybody good. They're facing everybody good. There is no.
What? I don't want to sound cocky. I think the Royals are not doing great this year. They're hovering around 500. The offense, no consistency. So, if they're facing 3 good pitchers, that's fine. I feel like the Yankees are more apt to win pitching duel games than they are to win offensive slugfests. So I think this could line up nicely for them. But then again, I'm wrong a lot, like the rest of us are.
Max Fried against Noah Cameron and his 0.85 ERA tomorrow.
Ridiculous.
Small sample size, but also that's crazy. It's like 4 starts. Schmidt against Chris Bubich and his 1.43 ERA on Wednesday, and Will Warren against common enemy Seth Lugo, whose ERA positively sucks at 3.46. So that should all be fun. You could win any of those games. You could also lose all of them, and a lot of it hinges on how good Noah Cameron is. So we'll find out pretty early tomorrow night what we're actually dealing with. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the commiseration and the misery. The New York Yankees sucked this weekend. It sucked with a chance not to suck. They instead chose to suck. And so here we are, mired in disaster, and I'm eating my own hand, putting my own fist in my mouth live on a podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib, and a lot of you have in the last 24 hours, and a lot of you have very not insightful stuff to say, but some of you were having good conversations. So please.
Nice. That's good.
Talk to me. But some of you I don't like very much. But that's where you can find me, Thomas Carannante. Where can the people find you?
Nobody finds me. It's very weird. At Tommy, they always find you. I'm at Tommy's _ takes though. If you want to give Adam a day off, at Tommy's _ takes. If you want to shit on the both of us, at Yanks Go Yard FS, the official Yanks Go Yard social media accounts. yanksgoyard.com. That's where all the content is. We're written a lot about this Red Sox series. We got plenty of stuff on deck for the Royals series. And don't forget, trade deadlines in a little over than a month and a half. The buzz is heating up. A lot of speculation running rampant. We're reporting on it. We're giving you all the info you need. So head on over there. Get all informed on the Yankees content that you're going to need leading up to the trade deadline. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget it. And until then, we'll see you Thursday. Go Yanks.
Good Yankees. We'll see you Thursday. Let's win some baseball games. Let's play fundamental baseball. Let's find bullpen pieces. Let's limit walks. Let's go into Boston with a little bit of headwind. How about that? See ya.